From a span of 2009 all the way to 2015, the Cincinnati Bengals made the playoffs 5 times, each year losing in the wild card round with their head coach Marvin Lewis. But since that crushing 2015 loss to the Steelers, the Cincinnati Bengals have gone on a downhill spiral, and in 2019 they went 2-14 and got the number 1 overall pick in the draft. Nothing seemed up for the Cincinnati Bengals, but now things seem to change a little bit with their roster and a new head coach signed. Will the Cincinnati Bengals be able to flip around their season and make it to the playoffs? Let's see. What's up, everybody? It's AC Analysis, and today I'm going to be talking about if the Cincinnati Bengals will be able to recover from their 2-14 season. Let's get started. So the first thing I want to talk about are the offseason moves that the Cincinnati Bengals have made to change their team. First off, they've, cut Andy Dalton, and they fired Marvin Lewis 15 years too late. They should not even have hired him. But he got fired, and then they got a new coach in Zach Taylor, who looks to be more promising. Obviously, with the number 1 overall pick, they drafted Joe Burrow. They also picked up players like Von Bell, safety from the Saints, and they have players that are healthy again, like AJ Green is healthy. So this team overall looks a lot better than it did before. The question is, are they good enough? So obviously, every team's goal is to make the Super Bowl. But to do that, you first got to make the playoffs. And I don't see the Bengals making the playoffs right now. Let's look at their division. They got the 14-2 Baltimore Ravens. Those guys did great last year. I see no chance of them not making the playoffs, even if Lamar gets injured. The Pittsburgh Steelers are always in contention to make the playoffs. They're always a good or average team. And the Browns are still a part of the hype train. People still feel like the Browns can make the playoffs, and some crazy maniacs think they can still make the Super Bowl. So for the Bengals to make the playoffs, they first got to beat out the Cleveland Browns and the Steelers and try to get into a wild card spot, because the Baltimore Ravens are staying at number 1. Now let's look to see if their team is good enough to make the playoffs. So in 2015, 2014, and 2013, and 2012, they won 10 or more games. In all those years, they lost in the wild card. And in 2015, they were even 12-4, obviously losing to the Steelers because of Vontaze Burfict's idiotic play. But their roster looks pretty similar now, except for they changed out Andy Dalton for Joe Burrow, and they got rid of Vontaze Burfict and Pac-Man Jones. So they're missing some players, but their team does look very balanced out right now. They still got the defensive linemen and Geno Atkins and Carlos Dunlap, who are always very good. And they still have AJ Green and Tyler Boyd, who are a great wide receiver core. And they also have one of the best running backs and the most underrated running backs in the league, Joe Mixon. I feel like the Cincinnati Bengals record will depend on how good Joe Burrow plays. Because if you look at his college stats, they're just out of this world. 60 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 75% completion percentage, completing 400 passes. Those are insane stats, but obviously that is college football. This is the pros. So if Joe Burrow could even half that would be an amazing NFL season. And so I feel like this team, how good they play depends on how good Joe Burrow plays. If Joe Burrow plays good, the Cincinnati Bengals play good. Because if they can get a solid, good quarterback to their team, I feel like that's all they're missing, besides maybe their linebacking core. Okay, so now comes the controversial part, where I guess how far they'll make it in the playoffs, or even if they will make the playoffs. And from what I've seen by their team, I feel like they will get a max of 8 games, because it all depends on Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow is still a rookie. So in my opinion, with the talent that they have and the talent that Joe Burrow has, they will win 8 games, and they will miss out on the playoffs. Because, Baltimore is obviously going to make it, and they might get a wild card in there. But I don't feel like this Bengals team is good enough or synergized enough yet to make a playoff run. But I feel like they will do better than god dang 2-14. So that's how far I think they will go. So anyway, this concludes my video. Thank you guys all for watching. This has been AC Analysis on the Cincinnati Bengals, and will they be able to turn around their season. I'm going to be making a video once every 2 days, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for 20 subscribers. See you in 2 days. Bye.